The village of Oakhaven was a world of white, silenced by the weight of deep winter. At the center, the frozen lake hummed with the rhythmic scrape of steel against ice. Nova watches the skaters with quiet longing, leaning forward as she softly whispers, "I can do that too." Children glided past, laughter sharp, cold air. One day, Nova sees a young woman skating like a swan. Elegant, light, mesmerizing, and watches in awe. Moments later, the woman slows to a stop, changes into a new pair of skates, and quietly leaves the old ones behind on the bench. Just as she was about to leave after placing her skates on the bench, "You forgot these," Nova called softly. The young woman turned and met her gaze, noticing the quiet hope in Nova's eyes. "I don't need them anymore. They might be too big for you, but you can wear them. One day, you will skate beautifully." Back home, Nova carefully layered thick wool socks, trying to make the skates fit her small feet. She pushed her feet into the skates and tightened the laces. The next morning, she stepped onto the ice with quiet excitement, but her balance slipped away. She stood up and took a step, but lost her balance again. He didn't give up. He tried to get up again, but this time he fell back down. His muscles burned from the effort of balancing on the thin steel. He took a step, then another. Every fall left her with bruises, but she never gave up and always managed to get back on her feet. Nova sat silently on the ice, exhausted from repeated falls. She didn't move, letting the cold envelop her. One day he falls again, and the same beautiful young woman is by his side. She whispers to Nova, "Don't fight the ice, move with it." As Nova grew, the seasons changed. The lake froze and thawed again and again, and the years became an endless rhythm of repetition. Her ankles steadied as she glided forward, slowly finding her balance and settling into her center with growing control. The sun set, the stars shone, yet her body continued to glide smoothly across the ice. She was no longer the little girl who fought the ice, but an athlete moving with it. "Now I can do it. I can feel it," she whispered. One day, her eyes caught a flyer pinned to a frozen post, a skating competition. She read the date and without hesitation ran home. She told her mother she wanted to join the competition. Her mother didn't hesitate. She reached under the bed and pulled out a box filled with years of saved scraps. She spread the pieces before her faded velvet, delicate lace, and threads that had lived many lives. Her mother lifted a needle and began to sew. The work was slow and deliberate. She measured the fabric against Nova's frame, pinning each piece in place. Every stitch was pulled tight, the thread biting into the material, as her mother worked by a single candle, eyes squinting in the dim glow. She spent hours hunched over the fabric, her fingers moving in a rhythmic, silent cadence. She reinforced the seams to make the dress strong enough for the ice. She worked carefully. The velvet was heavy, the lace delicate. At last, the dress was finished. Her mother carefully lifted it and held it up to the light. She trained at a professional rink where the ice was smooth and controlled, unlike the rough village lake she once knew. Coaches lined the boards, their sharp voices cutting through the steady hum of the rink as Nova's lips moved softly. "I can do this." The coach gestures sharply, pointing to her foot. "Your edge, clean it, reset, again." The cold here was nearly unbearable, yet Nova refused to give in, continuing to train until her muscles burned. The coaches weren't observing the elegance, but the angles, the speed, the milliseconds of a turn with precision. When the day of the competition finally arrived, her mother's dress felt heavy on Nova's shoulders. Nova stepped into the center of the rink, the harsh overhead lights revealing the patches and seams of her dress. A low murmur rose from the crowd as people leaned forward, eyes scanning the uneven fabric, but Nova kept her focus ahead. She settled into her starting position and waited for the music to begin, her body perfectly still as she focused on the moment ahead. The The music began a low, driving pulse. Nova pushed off, pivoting into a smooth, controlled turn. Her steps traced gently across the ice, each movement smooth and deliberate as she found her rhythm. The crowd fell silent, doubt replaced by quiet awe. She moved with fluid, confident grace. Her spin blurred the colors around her, the world melting into motion as the ice seemed to belong to her alone. Spinning fast, a coiled spring, he grabbed his waist. Beneath it, a new fabric caught the arena lights, unfolding into a cascade of shimmering starlit particles. They trailed behind her like a comet, turning the sterile rink into a swirling galaxy of light. Nova's perfect poise defied physics, a breathtaking final pose. The roar of the arena slowly faded into a rhythmic, steady pulse of applause. Nova stepped onto the podium. The gold medal felt cold between her fingers, heavy and real. The adrenaline rush faded into a calm, steady hum, and Nova's eyes filled with tears of joy as she smiled, overwhelmed by the moment. The harsh, bright lights of the arena seemed to dim at the edges of her vision. She closed her eyes. In the sudden darkness behind her lids, the massive stadium vanished. She felt the biting, sharp chill of the village lake again. She remembered the days when her knees were bleeding from falling. Every fall a lesson. She remembered that the woman who gave her the skates had always been by her side, at every age. The woman who had taught her to move with the ice, instead of fighting it. The memory of that touch anchored her. Her eyes opened to the blazing lights and blurred crowd as a final tear fell a silent thank you to the woman who gave her the skates. She looked out over the crowd, the gold medal glinting in the spotlight, and a slow, genuine smile spread across her face.